Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Tips and Tricks, which is a series where I show non-obvious ways that you can use some of my plugins. In this example, we're going to look at Waymaker and how it can kind of take a sequence or a melody that you've written and just take it to the next level with a bit of harmonic motion. So, I came up with this little keys line, and I like it, but gets a little boring after a while. So let's play through it and hear how it sounds. So I like that, but I feel like it could use a little bit of harmonic motion. I feel like, what if this kind of figure were to move across a chord progression? Now, I could just manually sit here and move things around, duplicate this, and, try to manually do that. Or, I could even play this on the keyboard and figure out what it might sound like, if it were referencing a different chord. But if I just want to work quickly or work in a more experimental way, Waymaker is a great tool to use for that end. So right now I'm sending this MIDI clip directly to an external instrument. It's going to my OB6. So what I'm going to do is create another MIDI track. I'm going to load Waymaker onto it, and I am going to move that MIDI clip over to the Waymaker channel. And then what I'm going to do is take the OB6 channel and just have that get the output of Waymaker. All right, I'm going to connect to MIDI. Cool. So if I start playing, it's transposed because remember, Waymaker's output is quantized to a scale, and the original thing is in C sharp major. So there we go. We got the same exact figure so far. So what I want to do is think about a way to spice up this little synth line and kind of have it move across a chord progression to add a little bit of interest. So I'm going to use just a step sequencer. I'm going to change it into transpose mode so it's affecting the MIDI that's coming in. Let's drop that down to 4 steps. And I like how the sequence starts. I want to keep the original version of it for a little bit, but then I want it to change. So let's go down a 5th, then maybe down a 3rd. Now I'm going to slow the sequence down to a whole note. Let's hear how that sounds. So instantly we're kind of referencing a chord progression now, and it didn't really require any work on my end. I didn't have to sit there and transpose all of this. I didn't have to figure out how to play it in a different range of the keyboard. I'm not the best keys player, so this is a really invaluable tool for me. And then we can take it a step further. What if we just want to add a little bit of interest on top of this? I'm going to create a little branching sequence as well. I want to add just like a little bit of random kind of glitter on top of this. So what about something like this? I'm going to make these little triplet 16th notes chime in every now and then. So I'm going to drop the probability, let's say down to below 10%. Let's hear how that sounds. like this because working with a melody in this kind of algorithmic way kind of frees up brain space for me to tweak sounds or move on to the next sound that I want to add on top of this. You know, I didn't have to sit here for 30 minutes and try to figure out how to make this, you know, this keys line fit the chord progression that I was imagining it. I can kind of just use Waymaker to say, okay, I want this to, you know, play the original at the original pitch, and then, you know, give me the subdominant and the, you know, third down, and I don't have to, you know, kind of sit here and use up the valuable brain power that you need when you're composing, you know, on tasks like that. So I find that kind of nice. And to my knowledge, there isn't a really easy way to do that. Just using like Ableton or other, you know, piano roll style sequences.